This is Overtime, a live series brought to you by Lynx and War Room Media, where we talk about basically anything we want. And here are your hosts, Greg Williams and Ryan Ray. Ryan, back
What's
again.
up,
That's 2 in a row, man.
I know. It's a streak. It's official. We're dangerous.
Bang, doing it. So what's going on with your side there over in Granbury? What's happening?
Today I've had a couple of client calls. Thinking about the newsletter for Friday. Doing this. Just normal day, man. Normal day. How about you?
Oh, it's all good. I told you I had doing some so we're working on a different kind of product line. It's for doing some social media promotion and stuff. And what I've been doing, and it does seem kind of strange when you talk about it to people, but it's going to be kind of like it's an on-demand type style of promotion for social media. So if you don't do this stuff every day, this on-demand stuff every day. Good morning, Alyssa. Nice for you to join us. Consistent Alyssa's in there every single show, man. So gonna have to like send her some books or something. Well, since we're both authors, we ought to send her some free books. Alyssa, hit one of us up inbox on LinkedIn, and we'll send you some. We'll send you something.
Yeah, that's a box full of books to get rid of.
I've got some stuff over here on the shelf too. But so what we're doing is we're working on this product, and it takes like an on-demand thing. And so since I'm not like privy to some of the design of these on-demand platforms, I started driving for Uber and Lyft, right, just to get a feel for the way they're.
You talking about that?
Yeah, just to get a feel for the way things are transaction through the platform, And man, it has been some kind of it's been enjoyable. Meeting some of these people, these pilots, and some of these people downtown that do some of these trips, some of these different times at night. It's great, man. It's like you could write just a book on these things. You could write just a book on the people that you pick up. I mean, it's the context and the things that are happening with these people and the conversation that you have is amazing. So anyway,
I might take that idea up. And I've got an F-250 though, so that's probably not a very good Uber vehicle.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, again, when people ask me, I'm driving a Tundra. So, I mean, it's like when people ask me what I'm doing it for, so I have to explain it. And then I'm like, regardless of what you think about it, you can still do that gig for like 3 or 4, days a month, and you can actually pay the note for the vehicle. So it's not like you're not losing anything other than, you're getting back some cash, but you just obviously paying or sacrificing part of your life to pay for a note. So I mean, so there's a lot of different things going on there. But again, just for some experimental information. So, all right, let's see. Let's get into our rundown for this morning. Yeah, here we go. A little background noise there.
How long are you going to do the Uber thing for, you think?
I don't know, man. I think we've got the kind of the bones of the idea together. It takes so my largest thing is not carrying financial information on the platform. I refused. Even Lynx doesn't carry financial information. We use third-party providers for all of that. You've seen too many people fall in that area, and I'm just not going to be one of those guys, or the company's not going to be one of those companies. So we hand all that over, and that's the largest part is the transaction handover for the cash, right? So that's where we're stuck at the moment. We're working on it, but I mean the everything else is in place. We're just getting ready to kick it off here in another month and a half, 2 months or so. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be low cost. It's going to be where you can get in there. It's going to have an e-commerce storefront. You're going to be able to slam the doors on it. You can get on any network, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, throw a promotion in there, pay for the promotion. Boom. It gets sent out. It gets sent out to influencers. They can pick it up, go with it, and get paid. Boom. Done.
Man, how are you getting to do all the cool stuff? How is that?
Man, I do have a little bit of free time, and so And as we've been working with this thing, with RigLink since late 2017, man, we have the amount of information that we've pushed out and the different things that we've created and the media that we've put out there. You are this idea is there for quick starts and people that doesn't have a lot of cash to throw in the game, and they don't have time to sit in front of a dashboard like a Facebook or LinkedIn dashboard and try to figure it out. You almost have to have a bachelor's just in ad spend to figure out how to get in there and compete with the big boys in these doing these promotions.
Well, don't forget about me when you become a tech mogul. I just want a board seat. Just a board seat.
Oh man, you already have an honorary board seat in my heart, right?
Honorary.
I
appreciate that. It means a lot. I want that official board seat though on the tech company.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Yeah, we can listen. We can say why is Ryan around the board of directors? We're not really sure. He's
who's this guy? We've never even seen him before.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so we'll talk a little bit about our oil prices, our Europe gas and Putin, national gas prices, the Cali oil spill, and some perspective for that. Josh Thornton, Tampa Bay Jacks cheat sheets, how many walnuts can fit in an avalanche, and a missing man found after joining his own search party. So we'll
that's talent.
That is talent. That is certainly talent. I cannot lie about that.
I'm ready for that story. I'm ready for that one.
So Ryan, for our oil prices, it looks like the WTI 78.16 and our Brent is 81.88. Prices did fall a little bit, but they look like they rose to a 7-year high on Tuesday. 79.47 for WTI. But looks like another build was turned up this week, 2.35 million barrels, but not as much as the previous week, half of the previous week. But Ryan, you still feeling like the prices where they need to be?
Yeah, I mean, where are they going to go? I mean, right? And that's kind of the thing is you're sitting here now waiting for something to change. And I know the Biden administration is talking about opening up the SPR. Maybe that'll put some relief on the market. But OPEC's saying that they're not going to change what they're planning on doing. You are sitting here at a spot that, barring a slowdown or an increase in output, the prices are going to be in this range. Now, I'm not saying they're going to, triple in price by the end of the year, but they got to keep stable, if not go up some. It seems it's hard to figure. It's hard to see them going down right now. I'll put it like that. And real quick, at Jubilee, one of the groups I'm partnering with, our official forecast is $8 natural gas by the end of the year.
With you mentioning that, I just saw the same thing this morning, and then that's and this was your partner with Jubilee that put that out there. So yeah, it's hard to believe. Okay, even a couple of years ago, it would still be hard to believe this. $8 for natural gas. It's long, and we obviously will get into some of this discussion here with the gas and Putin in here and everything.
Well, and I think the thing that's kind of missing with the natural gas, real quick, Greg, is that the Permian drilling is a big culprit here. Drilling because Permian was like the number one gas producer for a while. So much of and so you're putting this pressure on these gas basins because they couldn't produce because all they had was gas. Well, the Permian was getting oil and gas, and so it was able to be the number one producer. Well, that's dropped off, and that's not really coming back. So it's kind of, I say, culprit. It's part of what's going on here is that you don't have that anymore, and so that's
a large key. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, I mean, anybody that's not in natural gas, get in there, man. Get in there. It's there. Go get it. Let's see. Moving on into our market news. So, Mr. Putin made a statement here. I guess that would have been, was that yesterday or the day before? That Europe had made a mistake by reducing the share of long-term deals in natural gas trade. Well, yeah, of course. But spot prices, like you said, are just surging. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to shut that down. But he said that they talked to the European Commission's previous lineup and all its activity was aimed at phasing out so-called long-term projects. Just caution everybody. It's a rant coming. So I can firmly second that statement that phasing out any long-term work should not be the target of any country at the moment, regardless of what entity, pressure group, or likes thereof put against you. While the Bill Gates of the world sit with their feet up and cozy with modern day conveniences, you are freezing your ass off because you decided to bend to the greenwashing based on speculation, not world need. Rant over, Ryan. You can take over from there. I'm good.
I think you nailed it. And I think you got it right. I mean, what else are you going to say?
Nothing. That's just, it's insane.
Also, real quick,
Vladimir, can you come help us here?
Yes,
We're running out of gas here.
Putin is a murderer. He's a terrible dude.
100%.
But when he dunks on you,
oh,
it's tough.
Oh, it was an alley dunk. It wasn't even it was a he got a hand off. He's on the rim.
Yeah, and it's bad because and that's
when you the other part about it is when you put yourself in a position to be dunked on too.
Oh yeah, right.
And then not only did you get dunked on, you actually asked to get dunked on. I mean,
yes,
it didn't even like accidentally. It didn't even accidentally happen to get dunked on.
Yeah, that's a great point. So this would be I'm about 5'11", 6 foot, kind of that range. This would be akin to me standing 2 foot in front of the basketball and challenging Michael Jordan in his prime to come dunk it. You have no shot, and then I jump like 3 inches.
Another key there, you said in his prime, because
yes, in his prime.
He is in his prime right now.
Yeah, and so he would go from the free throw line, jump over my head, and dunk it on me, and I wouldn't, I'd have jumped 3 inches. That's what the Europeans have done here.
Boom. It was almost like they gave him, like they almost put their hands out like this and helped him up to the basket. I just up there. Incredible,
Victor. We are in Canada.
Absolutely.
We're worldwide.
We are.
Share
all right,
with your friends.
Jump over here to these national gas prices. And so I was just curious and looking about. Of course, when you open this thing up, you're always going to expect to see California at number one on the list. No doubt about it. Any day of the week.
We're on gasoline now, not natural.
Gasoline, not natural gas. So, which was sitting at the top with $4.42 per gallon for regular grade. But Ryan, number 2 on the list, although you're looking at this right here on the screen, it doesn't show you what number 2 is. But can you guess what number 2 is?
Okay, so we're talking about gasoline prices. Number 1 is California.
Yes.
Number 2, well, okay, if I'm reading this chart right, it's got to be like Oregon, Washington, Hawaii. Okay, Hawaii.
Okay, that's right, folks. It's Hawaii. But again, we'll talk about more perspective later in the show about other things.
Hawaii's so small, it's hard to tell how red that really is there. But yeah, okay.
But Hawaii has 0 proven oil and gas reserves.
Yeah, Hawaii's on an island.
0. So, and gas is still cheaper than the United States' 3rd largest state, with proven, produced, carried, shipped, and exported oil in an abundant amount.
Yeah, let me just redneck what you just said there. They got the resources right there that they can access. Them folks in Hawaii got to bring it in. Okay, that's what you were saying.
Right on. With an economic benefit going back into California of $1.35 billion, Californians are still paying the nation's highest average in gas prices. On top of all of that, trying to phase out oil and gas. So let's be clear here, everyone. I'm not having to go at California. A state is a state. I'm not having to go. But we just left the topic of Europe phasing out long-term gas projects, and they have Russia stepping in to help them out. California, you're headed in the same path. You're going down the same road. Who's going to help you guys out? I mean, we're going to
So here's what's going to be interesting. So the west coast of of California.
Africa does have a west coast, though.
Yes, it also has a west coast. Thank you for that, Greg. The west coast of California, which is where most of the population lives. When you get from about south of San Francisco all the way down the border, the problem is most of that is 70 degrees year round, right? That little thin strip. And so
their problem is water.
Right. But they need power, but they don't need the heating and cooling like the eastern portion of California would need, right? Or like us in Texas. And so it's really interesting because I don't know if they appreciate. So they have a lot of power they're using. I don't know if they appreciate the demand on the grid that folks in the rest of the state will need, which is heating, cooling, dealing with severe weather, stuff like that in the northern part of the state. The other thing is if you can't produce baseload, you're going to bring it in, and you're going to bring it in from another state that's got coal or natural gas, right? And so
Exactly.
you're back to where you were. It's like, why don't you do it yourself? And they're shutting down their last
And
nuclear
you're
plant.
and you're paying more for it.
Right, and they're shutting down their last nuclear plant too. So
God.
you know why?
Where are
One
they
of
going
the
to get
reasons,
all the money to build these desalinization plants, man? They got the world's largest or the second world's largest there in San Diego. I mean, where are they getting the money to build this stuff? I mean, they're not getting it from oil and gas, obviously.
yeah, no, and then the former mayor of San Luis Obispo was quoted that her adult child has nightmares of 9/11 when she thinks of the nuclear plant. Like she connects the nuclear plant melting down to 9/11. That's what we're dealing with.
Oh,
Oh, it's bad.
I don't even
Yeah, you don't even know what to say. You're like that makes
zero sense.
zero sense. Zero sense. And
It makes us
we're espousing that as if we were talking about facts and we're living in reality.
It's going to make it as much sense as the next thing I'm facing to go into, which is this oil spill. So, Ryan, this we'll talk a little bit about here. I want to just put it into some context here for people that don't deal with volumes on a normal everyday basis. So, while we're talking about California, for all the people that's eyeing this oil spill that took place, that thing started like 2:30 a.m. this past Saturday morning. Now, before we go through the whole story, I mean, I'm waiting for the report, but it looks like a ship got loose and snagged a pipeline, and some of the shutdown mechanisms weren't there. But anyway, it happens. I mean, this is just the world we live in. If you don't spend money on architecture, this happened on systems architectures and shutdowns and things like that. I'm not going to make any comments ahead of time, but we do know things happen. But let's be clear, I'm not I'm not pro oil spill here. I'm not going to be like, yeah, I want everything to leak into the ocean. That's not what I am. What I am for is I'm for proper mechanisms. I'm for proper architecture. And I'm for putting money back into the system to continue to operate safely. So this spill was 144,000 gallons, which is equivalent to 3,428 barrels of oil, which by all counts is a substantial spill. Needs to be reported, needs to be resolved, but just I want to give some clarity and put some context on it, right? And so your typical tanker, these bad boys you got right here, we're showing on the screen, the VLCCs, these ULCCs. A typical tanker can carry 2 million barrels to 3 million barrels, and especially in some of the ultra large carriers. Your truck that runs around on the road, which is this bad boy here, they typically carry around 8,000 gallons. And so with my Louisiana math, that comes out to about 18 trucks for what was spilled, right? So, perspective means everything for me. With news and media quick to call out oil and gas demons and everything else. Anytime you're taking a road trip anywhere in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, you're typically going to pass up 15 or 20 of these trucks on the road at all times of the day. They're on the road nonstop. So before you start taking a hammer here to oil and gas, now I'm not taking away the seriousness of the issue. I'm simply providing context. We'll wait on the report, but again, that's not a whole lot.
Can we do
not a whole lot?
I have a visual illustration for you, Greg, that might help. Today, I'm going to drink 941 milliliters, probably 3 or 4 times. So let's call it 1,000. I'm going to drink probably between 3 to 5,000 milliliters of water,
Right.
or I could say 32 ounces.
Exactly.
Times 3 or 4. Okay.
Exactly.
So this is 1,000 milliliters roughly. So that's what you're saying. So I could say I'm having a 32 ounce glass of water, or I could say I'm having 1,000 milliliters.
Exactly.
So our frustration here is that they are trying to frame this as it's larger than what it is. Instead of using the units that we normally would hear, which is barrels,
Exactly.
they're saying gallons or liters or whatever. They could say milliliters if they want to. And it's like, well, okay, you could say that. That's technically true, but you're trying to deceive the listener so that it feels bigger. So yes, for all listening, I'm having 1,000 milliliters right now.
Also, I want to share that if you're worried about 3,428 barrels or 144,000 gallons, there's more blades from our new windmills being buried than there is oil being spilled. So
Well, and
let's
this is
just,
this is
yeah.
the problem because me and you, what we want to say is guys, what are you doing out there?
I want
Like,
to say it's bullshit. I mean,
well,
that's what I want to say.
well,
But
but, but
also, but I also want to, but I also want to err on the side of caution here because what we're doing, whoever owns that pipeline made a mistake.
that's what I'm
There's
saying.
no doubt about it.
That's what I'm saying. We want to say that. It's like, what's going on? What was this as a freak accident? Like, the tide got really low and the ship didn't, like freak accidents happen.
Sure.
Or was this something that safety procedures were not followed? That's what we want to talk about. But we
Right.
can't because we're having to explain that the media is trying to portray this as something that's not. And so then it's like, well, because we don't want the oil spilling into the ocean. But you can't talk about that because you got to spend all your time trying to make these people be honest.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, 1,000
All
milliliters.
in a nutshell.
A
All in
1,000
a nutshell.
milliliters. I'm drinking a lot of water.
All right, we'll move out of the market stuff and we'll move over to the sports section. And Ryan, we talked about it last week. It's sad to talk about Josh and his passing, but we wanted to just bring it up because we're obviously big fans of MMA, and it wouldn't be right if we didn't talk about it for just a second. But we want to pause the show here for just a second, have a moment of silence for Josh, his family, and all the friends in the
Yeah,
sports.
real quick, I don't think we talked about it last week, Greg. It just happened.
No. I know we didn't talk about it last
Oh,
week, but
okay.
we talked
Oh,
about
okay.
we talked about fights and everything else
Yeah,
last
yeah.
week. So
Okay.
yeah, we're just going to have a quick moment of silence here for Josh. All right. Josh carried a record of 6-18 with 24 fights across combat sports. Rest in peace, Josh. Ryan, understand you were at this fight. You got anything you want to add here?
Yeah. Let's talk about this for a second. It's tragic. I was there. I was ringside. I sent you pictures that night of this knockout and this. I was literally front row.
Yes.
The way you get closer was you were actually inside. They have a little fenced-in area, and you're
Yeah, you had to have a press card hanging around your neck.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
So, like, I was close as you can get, and this knockout happened right in front of me. It was the most vicious knockout. I've seen some vicious knockouts in person. This was the worst because he never moved. Usually, someone gives a thumbs up, they wave to the crowd, they sit up. He got knocked out, and he was out cold for a long period of time. You're like, well, that's weird,
Yeah.
because he was just out so long. I've seen a lot of knockouts, and a lot of people were out. And then he finally woke up, and he never moved. It's like, okay. And for perspective, the previous worst knockout I'd seen, a guy got kneed or head kicked, I can't remember, and he was down for a long time. I was way further back, I couldn't see what was going on, and they made him stand up. He walked like 3 steps and then got to the edge of the cage and like threw up all over the cage. They laid him back down, took him on a stretcher. It was like, guys, what are you doing? Bare Knuckle brought in the paramedics and stuff immediately. They took him on the stretcher. So they handled everything they could in the ring right.
Yeah.
But it was a vicious knockout, and from someone who's seen a lot of knockouts, you don't think the person's going to die. And so I don't know. This is just Ryan Ray speaking from pure speculation here. I think if you watch the video when he falls after he gets knocked out, the way his head hits the mat, the canvas, is something broke in one of the vertebrae or whatever, and he never fully recovered. That's my not official. That's just from what I've kind of gathered from these articles and whatnot. What may have happened, reading the Facebook stuff. It's tragic, and it's I don't know what you can say about it.
Yeah, I mean, what is it when you say bare knuckle? Yeah, actually, any worldwide organization that puts on these combat sports events, does it put into perspective anything from from the health side for the athletes, Ryan, or is it something that that we have to dig deeper into now into the physique, or are they going to have to start wearing Hans? I mean, come on now.
Yeah, well,
I mean, you look at how Dale Earnhardt passed, right? And so, are we talking about the same thing here?
no, and that's part of the issue here, right? Is I know a number of bare knuckle fighters. They all tell me the same thing. They don't punch as hard. Like they physically don't punch as hard because it hurts their hands.
Right.
Right, so they cannot punch you as hard, and also the ones that do bare knuckle that did it, they prefer it because they're not getting a knee to the head or a shin to the head,
Of course.
right? So the traumatic blow to the head is less than it is boxing, whether it has a padded glove, which you can wheel on someone, or an MMA glove, which you can not only punch, that's wrapped because it's wrapped underneath, and you can put shins and knees to the head. So the trauma on a per cases basis is far less. This unfortunately, so if Justin would have been in MMA and he got kicked coming across the ring and he just fell down, it's the way he fell. That's the problem. The way he fell, unfortunately, because he was knocked out, led to this kind of chain of events. And so I don't know what else you can do.
Where do you go from there? Yeah.
Right, and so
Yeah.
it's one of those deals, bare knuckle, um, and, this is something that I really believe is probably one of the more safer combat sports, but you do hear fighters say that they're going in the ring and they're putting their lives on the line, and I think we kinda take that and be like, "Oh, well, they're" no, they are serious, and unfortunately,
Yeah, absolutely they
this
are.
happens from time to time. It doesn't make it right, it doesn't make it good, it makes it tragic, it's sad. Like I say, so now I know I witnessed the beginning of someone dying, like, 'cause he just died a few days ago, but this was back in August, we
August.
went down
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
right? So I was there, and, like, literally the picture I have of him is he's 10 feet in front of me, right there laying on the canvas, and so, it's sad, it's tragic.
Well, anybody that's anybody that's in the sport, we love it. It's entertainment, but it's just a reminder that that it is a dangerous sport to be involved in. So that's the way it is.
Especially the higher the weight class, and these are big boys. Kleckler is a ripped son of a gun, he's a big dude.
Right,
So
right.
this is heavyweights, and those dudes get to throwing, it can be dangerous.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, our thoughts go out to Josh's family and all of his friends. So we
Justin.
I'm sorry, Justin. Sorry, not Josh, Justin. But yeah, we'll move on here to our next piece. But yeah, it's sad. Um, let's see. Yeah, Tampa Bay. This happened quite a while back, like September, into September 20, something like that. But I wanted to just talk about it while obviously the Rays are now sitting and waiting on the Red Sox after they took out the Yankees. But still, there's still some bitter people out there over the Jays, man. From the Jays that are still bitter at the Rays, man. So on September the 20th, the Rays were playing the Jays, and it was in the sixth. Kevin Kiermaier slid into home plate and grabbed up a card. That card, from what everybody understood, was Kurt's wristband cheat card.
Mhm.
Now, Ryan, as a manager, what what would be your thoughts here? It'd be like it's not like a $20 bill. Like you're not in Vegas. Like I mean, is this? I see $20 in Vegas. I'm gonna pick it up. But you're a Major League Baseball player, and you see a piece of paper on the field. Instinct would be like, probably pick it up. I'm gonna look at him and be like, "Here you go." Are you gonna hand it back and be like, "No," slip it in your pocket, hit the dugout, kind of with a smile? What's your
Mhm.
thoughts there?
So, okay. So let's before we get to the thought of picking it up, let's ask this question.
Yeah.
If you're using this and this is important to what you do, right? Then that means you're checking it regularly, right?
Yes.
And so as soon as it goes missing, you're going to realize it relatively soon. I don't know if this is the bot, maybe the next half inning or whatever, but you're going to realize it relatively quickly, right? And
Yes.
once you realize it's gone, one of the things that you have to consider is the opponent now has it, right?
Exactly.
And if they have it and you make a duplicate, then what would you expect to happen? They're going to
Slaughtered.
use it.
Slaughtered.
Right. So then you have to consider that you need to rearrange things. Is it easy? No. Or is it time consuming? Yes. Will things get a little ugly? Possibly. But you have to consider that. And so what you could do is just test out a few things, like, use the old card to see if they're figuring it out. If they are, then okay, it's done. So it's like, guys, are we that stupid that we think that the card went missing and that they never used it again? No, they had to use the card. And when they did, they were missing. And they should have thought, well, maybe these guys have it. And if they have it, they're about to slaughter us. Okay. With that being said, I get so frustrated with baseball in general on the written rules and the unwritten rules and so much of this stuff. The only question I have, so you have it, whether it's ethical or not, that's one thing.
Ethical or not, right?
Is it legal or not? And if it's not illegal, then I'm not going to get mad at the Rays for doing it. Now that doesn't mean necessarily it's ethical or not. But
bad sportsmanship, yeah, probably, but
maybe.
Yeah.
But so here's the question that I don't know the answer to is, let's say that you figure out that, that means that they're going to throw a slider, right? You figure that out. Are you supposed to just pretend like you don't know that? Like, seriously, you supposed to pretend?
No.
Okay, and then you figure out that this means they're going to throw a high fastball. Oh, well, I'm not going to pretend like I know that. I don't know that. So,
nope.
Right. So now that's work.
But how much of that, Ryan, would you not like? You can't really stand in a court of law and say, "Well, I wouldn't know that," because if you were doing your education or your background on the team before you were playing them, you probably knew 50% of this anyway. You probably knew quite a large amount. You don't get to the playoffs and not know what they're going to be throwing at you. I'm just saying.
Right. So I just, I don't. Again, if it's against the rules and it's a clear violation of the rules and it's cheating, we got a problem. If it's just an ethical question, man, then I'd have to really sit and think about it. But again, the onus on some level has to be on the team that lost it, because if it is this important to you, then you have to have realized you lost it.
Yes.
And so once you realize you lose it, you have to consider that they have it. And then if they have
From all accounts, they sent a bat boy over to the dugout to try to get it back, and they wouldn't give it back. They claimed it was September, and it's a bit late to be wanting stuff this late in the game. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
So you know they have it. Then why are you still using it? These are $1 billion franchises. You can't
right.
Paper card. Was this the only combination that worked? I mean, this is not Super Mario where you press up, down, side, 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 B, 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 A, whatever. Like, you can make other combinations.
Sure. It's frustrating, isn't it?
It's very frustrating.
Well, it's a good thing we ended off that, and we'll move over here to our oddly strange, and we'll talk about, how many walnuts will fit into a Chevy Avalanche.
A lot, I suspect.
So it's a great question, but in this case, it was 42 gallons. All of these nuts were gathered.
Oh, hold on, Greg. Are you pulling a trick on me here? Like, do you buy walnuts in gallons? Because I don't know if that, we just got onto the media about using gallons a minute ago. So strangely enough, 42 gallons equivalents to 1 barrel of oil. But it was the nuts were gathered from this vehicle by Mr. Bill Fisher in Fargo, North Dakota, and it was filled up 42 gallons. So I'm assuming 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Right. He probably used his 5-gallon buckets here and counted them as he was gathering them. That typical math thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 8. Yeah. So for those like myself who need the redneck version, 8 and some change 5-gallon buckets worth.
That's right. Okay. The greatest thing is they were gathered by one squirrel. I know kids that can't even pick up that many peaches in the yard. One red squirrel.
One squirrel. What's this squirrel doing all day?
He had plans to stay in there for the winter, it looks like. He had to take his fenders off, other parts from under the hood, fan shrouds, and everything else to get these 42 gallons of walnuts out from under the hood of his truck.
Oh, I thought the dude was putting them in there.
No, it was a squirrel putting them in the hood, in the engine compartment.
Oh, my God. 42 gallons.
42 gallons under the hood.
Oh, that's crazy.
He said there were still rolling around inside the frame rails he couldn't get to. So every time he turns the curve, it's got walnuts rolling around inside of his truck.
How long does this happen over?
He said he saw the squirrel in and out. He didn't think anything about it until he went out there and he was like, opened up the hood and was like, "Wow, check this out." They
But,
were
like, is this
everywhere.
like a week, a month? Like, how long does the truck sit there? Think about that. To do 42 gallons, 5-gallon buckets worth of walnuts.
Squirrels don't play around, man.
They can, like, carry one at a time.
I know, but they get on it. Squirrels, they don't mess around, man.
At our old house, you could watch them. When we just left a few months ago, there was 2 pecan trees, and so they would get in the pecan tree and they'd run, and then they plant it in the backyard, and you watch them like right there, 15 feet away. It's pretty cool. So yeah, they're nonstop, but 42 gallons. That's aggressive.
I also want to know, like, why did he have 42 gallons of walnuts laying around in his yard and not?
Yeah. Why don't you shake
I'd
them?
be thinking like in a stand somewhere selling them. I'd have my kids out, grandkids, whatever,
Yeah,
selling walnuts to the public.
no
Something,
doubt.
something. But speaking about walnuts and selling stuff to the public, Ryan, I've had a few bevies in my life. I mean, I'm now there's drunk and there's been really drunk, but this is probably more than I've had in a while. But I can't think if I had ever been in a position to where I would have been this gentleman here. Um, a Bihan Mutla is 50 from Inigo, Turkey, said he was in Kayaka for a construction job when him and his friends spent an evening drinking in the woods. He said he went back to the villa at 2 a.m. to sleep it off, but his friends thought he had wandered into the woods. Now,
They're already
as
in
you
the woods.
know, that he had wandered
Oh,
off by himself into the woods,
I got you.
because that's what you would do if you were drinking. You just go wandering out through the
Sure.
woods.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So our friend here, Mr. Behan, woke up the next morning and encountered a search party. That said, they were looking for a missing person.
Mm.
So he joined the party, and hey, Ryan, he joined the party, not thinking anything about it. And he's like, "Oh well, somebody's out there missing. I'm
Help. I'm a
gonna,
humanitarian.
I'm gonna just jump in there." And did not realize they were searching for him until the
That's
search party started shouting his name.
unbelievable. He's like, hey, but I mean, think about this. You're like, what's going on? Oh, there's a missing guy.
Man,
Let's go
what?
look for him.
Man, oh, hey, yeah. Oh,
What's his name? Ryan. 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 You're like, wait, hold on, Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Ray. Like, oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Apologies.
I don't even
Oh.
know. Okay, so I've never been that bad ever.
That's like I don't. Yeah, that's bad.
But wouldn't it be a text message in this date and time on your phone? You wake up the next morning, your friends would be like, "Hey, man, where you at?"
Well, yeah. I mean,
Would
that's
you not?
weird.
And if it was delivered, would you not? Would you not wait and let the guy kind of reply? I mean, there's got to be a thing there, like,
Where was this guy again?
yeah,
In Turkey?
in Turkey.
Are there tigers around, and maybe they think he got eaten? Like, he's out in the we're thinking woods, some deer. Maybe there's some kind of
We're
wild animals they're thinking.
when people talk about woods with us, we're thinking Kasachi. That's what
Yeah,
we're thinking about. We're thinking big woods. What we
right.
think about, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
maybe the definition of woods is a little bit different. They're thinking like a roaming tiger got a hold of him or a wildebeest gored him or something. Because I agree, if a buddy goes out in the woods overnight, you're like, as long as it wasn't freezing cold or
yeah,
like, he's all right. He's all right.
yeah, that's me.
But
And I'd be waiting for potential text message, because if they were there, on a construction job and just having a little party out in the woods, they didn't just like go into no man's land. I mean, they weren't very far from civilization. So again, I don't know, what kind of cell phone signal the guy had, but it's not enough information about the story to make a justified opinion about it. But again, when you wander off and you join a search party looking for somebody and they call your name, that has to be a bit of a, hey, I don't know. Do you go back to the villa and say, yeah, I'm back at the villa, or do you just tell them right there in the group? Do you just say, hey, that's me?
I found him.
You just
I found him.
you say that's me?
Around.
That's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I think what you do is you wander off, and
You
then
do.
like
You wander
like
off and act like you, yeah.
yeah, it's like I'm sitting here next to Greg and Tom, and they're like, oh, like, oh, okay. So then you go like, a
I'll be
quarter
right back.
mile that way. Don't talk to anyone, and like kind of just bump into someone like, oh man, what's going on? Like, we're looking for Ryan Ray. Like, oh, it's me. Let that person
Exactly.
story, and then
Exactly.
you go home. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
and then you write a book about it.
yes. Oh yeah, how you fought tigers through the night. It's got to be a tiger deal. There's got to be some tigers in this story somewhere.
It drug off through the woods by a mountain lion or something.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's crazy.
What
a world.
That's all for this week, man.
Well,
Look at that.
good to be back. Next week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Another one under 45 minutes.
Look at us.
We're squeezing all of this into some very valued time with everyone.
There we go. Well, good to see everyone. Glad y'all tuned in.
Man, I am always like having this session with you. It's a stress reliever for the week and get you set up for the weekend.
Yeah,
now.
You got me thinking about driving Uber now. I might have to go drive Uber for a while.
Even if it's just to get to meet some people too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we do a lot of things in public. We talk to a lot of people. We do a lot of traveling, but you never are put into a position to where you have to have so many one-on-one conversations throughout the day ever.
And
you're speaking with your wife, you're speaking with the kids,
right.
You're speaking with things like that. You're talking with people like we're talking right now, but when they're inside your personal space, not everyone talks. No. But it depends on what area you're picking up in. Like if you're picking up downtown somewhere, typically they're talking, right? You're picking up somewhere out in Jersey Village, out in 290 west side of Houston, whatever, they probably don't want to talk a lot. But 45 minutes.
Turn it off, right? Whenever you want.
Yeah. You just go online.
I'm gonna have to think about this because when I'm up in Dallas driving around, I'm gonna have to give some folks some lifts just because you're getting all kinds of weird insights about life like that I really love. And
totally, you do, and then on top of all of that, you start thinking about like, yeah, I know this person, or yeah, this person told me this or that, and I mean, there's a lot of so I had a rider late yesterday afternoon that had been in some of the same kind of domestic, way early on in my life kind of situations that I had been in. Right. And so it was a perspective that you never see from the other side of the fence, which she was sharing, and which was very eye-opening for me, because you never get to hear these things from, well, you do. I mean, you do get to hear them, but typically they're in front of the bench when you do hear them, but it's never, and they're never nice. So, it was a nicer female version of your story, but from the other side,
Yeah.
So it's, you get a way different perspective on things from just even doing it. And I mean, just, if you can break away and do the time, because I mean, a larger place, and I can imagine what it's like in Dallas, but here you can squeeze in about, if you're selective, you can squeeze in about 3 rides an hour, and that's about as much as you can get in here. So,
do you make any money at it, or is it just more for the adventure?
Oh, you make a little bit. It's been averaging, I think it's been averaging just around $25-$26 an hour. Okay. And I mean, you're taking away the gas out of it, and the wear and tear. If you got but again, I mean, if you got a newer vehicle, I mean, it's hard to even. It's going to be, by the time you calculate in depreciation, because ladies and gentlemen just listening here, it doesn't matter if you drive it or if it's sitting in your yard, it's going to depreciate. It doesn't matter. There's no metrics to how your vehicle. Every second that goes by, unless you have a chip that you need, it's going to be going away. So, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're driving it or not. So let's just be honest here. And so to calculate that in, to me, is always kind of like, yeah, well, I don't even think about that. You think about more about the gas and your time. So you figure out what you're worth per hour. If Ryan's worth $15 an hour, that's great. If you're worth $25-$30 an hour, that's great too. It's whatever you can get for your time. That's it. So
no, absolutely. No, it's interesting because, when I'm up in Dallas, sometimes I just have free time. I'm waiting between meetings and whatnot. And so to be able to talk to someone, to get that, some of the best stories I've gotten to tell people, when I'm networking and stuff, is from, unique experiences. And so it kind of opens that up. So that's interesting. I'm going to think about that. That's, you're onto something there, I think.
Well, that's all for this week. I am Greg with Lynx, and that is Ryan with War Room Media. I always get the R's mixed up there again.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining us this week for another edition of Overtime. And I think that is us, Ryan.
Awesome.
What are you doing this weekend? Good.
Today.
About some meat. You getting any cows this weekend? What's happening?
I
What's
got
happening?
cows. If you want some beef, I've got it. But today is my 15-year wedding anniversary. So
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. 15 years. So
Does your wife know it's your anniversary too?
Yes, she does. And
Okay.
next week will be my daughter.
It's always good to both know, right?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Yeah, one of us knows. Well, 15 years, Greg. So
fantastic, man.
Another
Congratulations.
35, so thank you.
So what are you getting her?
I haven't got her anything. Got to figure that part out. Thanks, Rick, for putting it on there. Here we go now. We done. You're gonna get me more in trouble.
We're out. Have a good weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye. You've been watching Overtime, a live series brought to you by Lynx and War Room Media. Your hosts have been Greg Williams and Ryan Ray. For sponsorship opportunities, send us an email at info@riglinks.com. Tune in next Thursday at 10 a.m. CST for another live episode.